Hey guys, this is SF and welcome to the fifth Monster Strike podcast for this week. My mic is not that bad. It's not that good. I'm using a different mic. I'm not using my better mic because I don't have it with me right now. But I still wanted to do a podcast just for you guys. And there are a lot of news and new stuff coming out that I really want to get information out to you and inform you about things coming up from NA and JP. But of course, starting with NA, one big news is, of course, the Winterstruck Summer. But before I get to that, I really want to say thank you for the people that watched my stream this week, and I had a lot of fun. It was pretty much a test. There were a lot of problems and clunkiness and stuff like that. But I did have fun. You guys saw me do some really crazy comps. Too bad I can't really upload it because of there were some different technical difficulties there that I can't really upload it, and so it's pretty much something that only the people that saw me play actually played. But what I did was there was a little test run when I was doing Jack, and basically I just didn't have a mic. I just typed in pretty much did like a message and then like play some music in the background. But the real one was when I was farming Marie Antoinette, and I did a lot of crazy comps there. And just to name a few, I did an all fire team with like Izanami, Sanada Yukimura, Agna with X, and like another Izanami. I made it to the last bar, which I was really happy, but I was kind of sad because I didn't play well. I didn't play that well. I didn't play as well as I can in that dungeon. If I pinched well in that last bar, I could have finished it and beat it with an all fire team. Another crazy comp was an all non-null gravity barrier team. So 2 Kushinadas. I don't know who else I did. I think I had a Tokugawa Yoshinobu, and then some other non-null gravity barrier monster. I did beat that, and it was pretty fun. It was painful for me just seeing my monsters not move and just hitting gravity barriers left and right, and I don't know, it was fun for you just seeing my pain of not going past through the gravity barriers and stuff. But Marie Antoinette was not that bad of a dungeon, and you also see me like but you also see me like farming her effectively. Basically, like when I was farming for that second half of the stream, I was basically not really watching. I was looking at other stuff. I was looking at websites and stuff like that, and I was looking at your comments and stuff like that. So basically, I did die a few times, but that was just basically me not paying attention and just looking at the chat and answering questions and stuff like that. But hopefully later next week I will probably do another stream, but I'm really deciding on what I should do. I might do a few, and next week I did have some ideas. One was farming Oruga. That was just like basically kind of like just like Marie Antoinette, just me farming Oruga, and then like just you see me farm her and then answer questions and me answering questions and stuff like that. Another one was farming Christmas Virdion, where I will host and then host for you guys to join in on the fun and just have a good time. Basically me hosting runs and then get you guys involved and like play with me and have fun and then grab some dream shards or Christmas Virdions. So that was another one. I think those were the two big ones. For next week, if I have time, it really depends on, because basically the Christmas Virdion is probably in the afternoon and stuff, and Oruga is at night. It really depends on people's availability in those times, but because it's mostly on the weekdays, probably not on the weekends, especially not this weekend for sure. Maybe next weekend, but we will see. And then there are some complaints about me doing it on YouTube because there is a giant 30-second lag between real time and then what you see on screen, especially for those people that are co-oping with me. because during my last stream we just did a couple of turtle runs, or a couple, and we did some Temple of Heroes hero runs, and then it's kind of hard to me tell you what to do, or like to react of what you're reacting, or like stuff like that. I think Twitch is a more real time stream, but I didn't really want to make a Twitch account, especially depending. I can of course stream on Twitch, but I didn't really want to make another account, and it's a lot easier for my YouTube subscribers to actually find these videos and find the event times, instead of me re-advertising my new Twitch account that you guys have to search for, or have to like see beforehand, and then go find it, and then log in, and stuff like that. And I think I'm not really sure how Twitch works in terms of subscribers. I doubt you have to pay for it, but if you can't subscribe for free, then I probably won't do it, because I don't really want just you guys be paying me money just to subscribe for a Twitch stream. So probably there's probably it's probably for free to subscribe and stuff like that, but I didn't really use a Twitch account, especially because my first stream was basically me trying to test out the waters, test out the programs and equipments and stuff like that. I did have some clunky effects and backgrounds and stuff, so by the time next week I'll make it a lot smoother in terms of editing, in terms of like just having the screen better, and then like stuff like that. But I hope you guys will look forward to it next week. Probably I'll do an Oruga stream, and then a Virdon stream, and I don't really know what else. Maybe a JP stream, but it really depends on the dungeon that's out, because I am farming at PCG3 and JP, but it really depends on when he actually comes during the time. I can't really farm, I can't really like commentate or stream during the middle of the night, because I don't live by myself and stuff like that. So there are some problems there. So hopefully I can get some streams coming up at least once every week, for at least 1 or 2 hours depending. So I hope you guys look forward to it. And then speaking of Marie Antoinette, I did start farming Marie Antoinette. They were at the beginning, I didn't really know why, because I didn't really need to, because I do have Queen Butterfly, and just as a water no gravity barrier monster. But she is good for Origa in terms of max luck monsters, so I am going to farm Marie Antoinette just for Origa, because Origa is very cute. And in JP I have both versions of her. I will talk about Origa later on, but she is very good in my opinion, and in terms of a no gravity barrier water monster, she is one of the best, if not one of the best in terms of impossibles, because the evolved version is better than Queen Butterfly and stuff like that. But I am starting to farm Marie Antoinette, but my team is a little bit different. My team is a little bit different than what I used on stream. Right now I'm farming, of course, with 2 max locks with my ult in my main. So max luck didn't change. It is Tengu, 2 Tengus, and then Kushinada, and then my 4th monster is Aurora Monster Striker. Why I use Aurora? Because this is how I kind of test it out and then see what was really the best for me. Is of course Tengus, like homing, clear mobs, stuff like that, and then if you're in a good position, if you're lucky, then just use the strike shot to actually take off a bar or something like that. But I usually use my Aura Monster Striker strike shot on the 2nd bar to clear out the minions, because it's really good for clearing out the unicorn. Unicorn does a lot of AoE damage, and then there's not much space to move in that dungeon, especially in that 2nd bar. If depending on where unicorn comes, if he comes right in the middle of the map, then it's kind of hard to move around. So that's why I use Aura Monster Striker to actually clear him out, and then Kushinada for the last bar just to pinch and stuff like that. And then Aura Monster Striker is a good minesweeper, and then no gravity barrier as well. It is a little bit low on HP, so you gotta be really efficient in mob clearing, but I did have like 90 to 95% win rate, but that was just me, like probably half the time I wasn't really paying attention. I don't really, when I'm farming, I don't really think that much. I do think about like the general area of where I should hit, and then like hit like this specific monster to, because I usually when I play Mario Antoinette, I don't really think about what shot, which way I shoot is the best. I just usually either like pull Kushinada or like go for like the short corridors between the boss and the wall and then stuff like that. So I don't really think that much when I'm farming, and it does cost me a little bit. I do lose sometimes, but it's not bad. The second session, so the first session I got about like 18, and that was me like screwing around for the first half with like the fire during the stream with the fire team, and then like the no gravity barrier team and stuff like that. But second session I got about 30. I got about 30, and then third session was about 2 days ago or 1 day ago. I got another 30, depending on when you're listening to this. I got another 30, so I just need one more session. It comes out on Sunday, so hopefully I can get finish it, because I only need about like 20, around 20 to finish, and I'll be good to go for Oruga, which is starting out on Sunday. But before I start talking about Oruga, I do want to talk a little bit about Nero. Nero, very hard dungeon. Saotome Shuri is the OP monster in this map. If you don't have it, then it makes your life 100, like at least 2 times harder. But it's not unbeatable without Saotome Shuri. But Saotome Shuri is kind of like #1 pick of that dungeon, and then just stack no gravity barrier monsters. Of course, Saigo Takamori is really good. Beethoven, Odo is really good because they can break drones. I don't think there's any more like drone breaking no gravity barrier monsters. There are like some like piercing ones like Orochimaru that can, but she is not a no gravity barrier monster, so kind of hard. So basically I did put up a video. So it was Oryo, Mundus, Sanada Yukimura, and Dustcoil. Basically just pinch and then position well for Nero, and then just look up the dungeon beforehand, because it makes your life a lot easier. Just if you're in the good position to just pinch and stuff like that, then it's really good. And another reason why you just look at the dungeon beforehand is just to have a easier time plan out where your monster should be, and then like use your mechanics. If you're good enough, then just position well. Another example was from my stream from last time, and then when at the end I did Emerald Dragon, and I one-shot the last bar with Lota and Joe Magilo. So Joe Magilo is a Viv Slayer L, so that's 2.5, and then I use a stretch out, which is a 25% cut of the current HP of the boss, and that's before any multiplier. So after the multiplier, so that's the 2.5 from the Viv Slayer L, and then the 1.8 after Lota's stretch shot, then that's about over 100%. So whatever HP Emerald Dragon had, just one shot. And then it really requires you to position because he doesn't move that much. So that's why I think for people that want to get better in this game is to look up the dungeon beforehand, know where the boss comes up, like in a general sense, and then plan accordingly, and then of course know what stuff to avoid and stuff like that. Strike Shot does try to get information as fast as you can, or you can just look at my videos. I do some JP runs of dungeons coming up, and then you just have to search for it. There is a lot of content there. I don't really know how many videos I have. I think I have at least 200. I can probably check. Let me see how many videos I have. Probably a lot. I have over 300 videos just me running dungeons, almost like on a daily basis. So really good. I probably finished at least every single dungeon at least once, besides like the stuff that I haven't really beat, which is Stark Muramasa, which I'm really sad. I need that ticket again. I need him to come back again, but that's for another time, and hopefully probably in NA as well. So now after Nero, like these stuff is done, Oruga and Santa Claus is coming. Oruga, I did wrote up a blog post. I'll link it up in the description for you guys to look at the stats and stuff like that. But the Monster Strike crew in NA, the dev team, made a video where they faced off Oruga. She is hard as it looks, and of course you saw them dying, almost dying a lot of times, and that wasn't really because they did bad. It was just that it's just really hard in general. Just because Oruga, when you get into the boss stages, you have the attack down debuff every single turn at the beginning of as our first attack, which is really annoying, and you can't avoid it, which is even more annoying because you have to stay there for at least 4 turns and take damage. Although there are some spots where you can just pinch between walls and the minions, or minions between minions, it's hard to get damage onto the boss because you get attack down at least once per turn. The attack down effect only does one shot of the monster, and then after that one shot, the attack down debuff will go away, and that affects strike shot, normal attacks, and of course bump combos as well. So it's really hard. And of course in the mini boss as well, there are a lot of minions, and her quad wave spray is basically as much damage as like a normal extreme dungeon boss in the boss stages. So if you get hit by that right at the root, then you basically get one shotted, depending on how many minions, depending on how many of your team gets hit. So it's really hard, but I am trying to max luck her. The main strategy is just to stack no guiding barrier monsters. Don't bring Dean team monsters, so no Hunter Kings, no no Verdundis, and no Hercules. And then she is a fiend, so you can bring some Fiend Slayer L's. Independence is one of the better ones, but of course Floor is really good just because of the wood, and then he is a Fiend Slayer L, and then his strike shot doesn't really depend on him moving. It's just a giant laser, so really good for Oruga just for 1 bar for that strike shot. And of course his homing destruction also procs his Fiend Slayer L. And then what other monsters are? Of course Fiend Slayers. In terms of Fiend Slayers go, Typhoon's good, Rat Swagger's good, and then Mary Antoinette is good. She is like the #1 max luck monster in that dungeon. Of course, if you don't have a max luck Mary Antoinette, Queen Butterfly works well, Tengu works well as well. So you don't have to max luck Mary Antoinette just for Oruga, but where Mary Antoinette does make it a lot easier. But just clear out the mobs and then go towards the boss. She doesn't do that much damage outside of being annoying in terms of her debuff, but she does have like basically a one-shot kill of attack after like, I don't know, like 10 plus turns. So if you stay there too long, you do die, but it's not that bad. And also talking about Oruga, I am going to try to max luck her. I'm going to go for Ascend version, although I do recommend most people to do Evolve version if they're going to keep 1 or max lucking. But I do want to challenge myself. I am going to make both versions, just to note. But if I'm going to max luck, I'm just going to go for the Ascend version, just to hone my skills, just to improve myself. Because the gauge shot, it is a recover S gauge shot, which is like the fastest one. It's like super fast. It's hard to hit every single time, but I think it's better for me just an improvement. Because if you miss that gauge shot, the gauge shot also has a no gravity barrier. So if you miss that and you're in between gravity barriers, then she doesn't move at all, and she doesn't recover people and stuff like that. And she doesn't have a normal ability. So all her abilities are in her gauge shot. So if you miss the gauge shot, then you just don't get any abilities for that shot. But she is a very good she has a volatile blast, which is good support, and her cannon doesn't rely her moving as well. Although it doesn't do that much damage, probably just like 300 to 400k, but it's not that bad. She is one of the better ones if you can use her well. And then of course the evolved versions can beat Izanami as well, because of the D&T Slayer and stuff like that. But talking about the other dungeon, which is the Christmas V, Viridion. I don't really know how to say their names. I'll just say the green Smydra, the Christmas green Smydra. But that dungeon, it is a savage dungeon, so it's not that hard. And basically, you want to. It's kind of like a farming dungeon. It's kind of like when you were farming silver pickaxes for ancient Smydra. If you have max luck, then it shouldn't be that much of a problem. And it does have all three Smydras up there, so technically you don't have to bring, like, if you don't have a max any like a non if you have like a water max luck, you can still bring it. And of course it is a savage level dungeon, so it's not that bad. But it's really good for beginners to make your luck 90 dragon, because those are really good for that, just to give you a chance of an extra drop. In terms of drop rates, it really depends, because you do get dream shards, you do get the green Smydra drop as well. It's not that hard to get a luck 90 in comparison to ancient Smydra. In terms of the silver pickaxes, you do get those drops very easily, but it really depends on what you're running that dungeon for. So if you're running the dungeon for dream shards, then you might be sad to getting all those like green Smydras. But if you're farming for green Smydra as a luck 90, then you'll be happy for those Smydras, and then maybe be happy for the dream shards. But it really depends. But it's basically the same, and then you won't be be left out in terms of, if you clear the dungeon, you still get a drop of either one, most likely, unless you get really unlucky and you solo and you don't have a max luck or a luck 90. Because when you clear the dungeon, you still got a chance of getting shards, like normal green shards and then turtles, I think. But chances of that, especially with the Smydra and the dream shard in the pool, chances are it's not going to be chances are you won't be getting none of them when you clear the dungeon. But of course, make your Smydra. That's why I made the video of max luck 90ing your Smydra early on, like a few weeks ago, to tell you to do it, or else you will be left out, especially on this dungeon where you can use that Nero to farm for the dream shards or the drop. But it is a good dungeon just to, if you don't have a max luck monster, if you don't have a luck 90 monster, you can try to find a group of friends to max luck that have max luck, or host in a line group, a giant line group, to farm for stuff like that as well. But hopefully I'll be doing a stream of just me and you guys farming for that luck, for that dream shard. I do have 2 accounts with max luck monsters, and it shouldn't be that hard. Basically, it has the 3 Smydras, and then there are conveyor belts, and then I think there are revives, but that's pretty much it. Oh yeah, and that dungeon has a crazy homing, but that's kind of like a one-shot kill. That's after like a few turns. But if you have good enough HP, then it shouldn't be that hard. So it shouldn't be that bad. And talking about the dream shards are special drops where you roll a dream hatcher, and that dream hatcher has XPs, Morlings, 4-star event 4-star event bosses. So there is a chance of you rolling a 4-star monster that you need ascent materials for. So you need like a Saito Hajime for your Roma, then you might get a chance of dropping him. But I don't really recommend just farming dream shards just to get like one or two boss drops. Like if you need a Saito Hajime, if you need like 5, you need all 5 Saito Hajimes for Roma, I wouldn't recommend you just farming dream shards crazy just to get a chance of getting all 5, because it is pretty low, because there's so many 4-star monsters in the pool that it's kind of hard just to get 5 every single time. And of course, dream shards are not that easy. I would say, like, you won't get a lot of it. You won't get a lot of dream shards unless you really farm, and if you have max luck. If you're just a beginner and just hoping, if you're just a beginner, I wouldn't expect you to get at least like 100 off of dungeons. You might get 100 after like all the stuff the dev team, the staff team of Monster Strike gives you, like the mission logs and like the daily bonuses and stuff like that. But I don't recommend. I don't expect beginners to get at least over 100 in that during that time. But if you have a max luck monster, unless you're like unless you're farming with max luck monsters, but don't expect to get all the ascent materials that you need for your box, especially when you need like a lot of them and a lot of the same monster as well, because there is a giant pool. There is at least 20. There's at least 30 4-star monsters in that pool, in my opinion. And of course, there is Santa Claus, which is a ascent material for Zeus. If you don't have Zeus, like the actual Hatcher monster Zeus, then you can't ascend to the Christmas version. So it's not really recommended. You don't really need to farm for Dream Shards just to get Santa Claus, just to ascend Zeus, because Santa Claus is just an ascent material. Even if you roll Santa Claus, you won't get Zeus. You can roll, save it for later, and then in case you get Zeus later on, then you can ascend into a fire one. But Dark Zeus is better in terms of viability, but Christmas Zeus is more limited. I did say in my blog post that it's there basically for artwork. Down the line, you probably won't be using Zeus that much either way, so there's something to think about. If you have dupes, of course, go for each one for both of them, but go for get one for Dark Zeus and then leave one for the Fire Zeus. But it really depends on your on what you are within the game. If you're really ahead, then there's no really much point for a Dark Zeus, especially if you have like Kushinada and like other no damage wall monsters. So this is not so just ascend for Fire Zeus if you're really ahead, or keep the Dark Zeus and then save up the Santa Clauses for later once you don't really use them anymore and just want to have the Fire Zeus just for collection sakes, because chances are he won't be coming back ever again, even in NA or JP, so he's pretty much there for collection. There are some like you can beat Tengu or like Circuit or Medusa better with the Fire Zeus, but it's not like Dark Zeus cannot beat them either way. So it really depends on what you want. And in terms of artwork, if you think the Dark Zeus is more cooler, then go for Dark Zeus, or if you think Fire Zeus is cooler, then go for Fire Zeus. And of course, Santa Claus is a ascent material for Orga as well. So if you want to ascend Orga, you need one Santa Claus. You only need one for each ascension, so you only need one for Orga and you only need one for Zeus. So it's not that demanding in terms of you grabbing Dream Shards, and the rate is not that bad. When I rolled in JP, I got like 5 or 6 in like 80, in like 60, 70-ish pulls. So it's not that bad. You can probably just get all the monsters in there if you play the game, and of course play the game effectively, and if you spend enough time in the game, because just from natural stamina, I think you can probably get all the Dream Shards you need, unless you get really, really unlucky. Of course, co-op helps you a lot. I'm pretty much expecting people to get the Fire Zeus in like day 1 when the dungeon is up, and when Orga comes up as well. So it's not that hard. I do have one like complaint, or like something that's really, really bothering me, is because Orga, if you're trying to max out Orga, you want as many drops as you can, but that dungeon also drops Dream Shards, so that kind of messes up with the actual drops of the boss herself. So it kind of it's not that bad. It's not really good if you're trying to max luck, but she is up. She says people say that she's up for the whole entire 10 days. I think 10 days, 2 hours every day, so about 20 hours. It's not that bad. You can probably skip 1 or 2 sessions and you still be able to max luck her. You probably only need like 8 or 10 if you 8 or 10 hours depending on how many max luck monsters you use. For me, Marie Antoinette only in real time in game time I needed only like 6 or 7, because when I was streaming, I wasted kind of 1 hour, and then on the third session I kind of wasted like another hour because I was busy with like real life stuff. So it depending, so it doesn't take that much uh, time in terms of game time to max luck Ortiga, especially if you can zero continue and stuff like that. Although Ortiga's dungeon is a lot longer than Marie Antoinette, and of course it's a lot harder than Marie Antoinette, so time might be a little bit longer. But I think 8 or 10 hours, 8 to 10 hours in real, in not real, in game time, then probably you can probably max luck her. But that's it about NA. After BGM break, we'll go to JP. Hey guys, and we are back, and this time is the JPC. Well, the bigger news, well, more the recent news that got added on to the game is of course the giant buffs. The giant buffs in JP, and then there were a lot of really good buffs, and a lot of them. So like Odin's got more attack, more HP. Susano got a lot of change to a one-way laser EL. Mika's gotten a lot better. Kali's gotten a lot better. Mozart's gotten a lot better. I'll probably do a blog post about all my thoughts later in the weekend, but I haven't really been testing around the new changes. I haven't really been playing with like the monsters I already have that got buffed, like Mozart and stuff like that. So hopefully later in the future when I have time, I'll probably be doing some videos about that, and then see like the amount of dungeons that they have expanded through the buffs. But like some really notable ones, Mozart of course gotten better in terms of just adding a null warp, so she's good for like Daigokuten. Not really the best, but she is now a viable pick for Daigokuten. And then Susano becomes a viable pick for Asha, a better viable pick in my opinion. Really depends on the one with laser, but Ashura, it's kind of more positioning above instead of bottom, but he does change a bit. I've seen some videos of people using Susano for Ashura, so he is a viable pick even before, but he might be a better viable pick in terms of that dungeon. Kali just gets better in terms of the Ascend form. I am still keeping her in the Evolve form just because I want to speed up character. But the Ascend form is not that bad. Minesweeper, no warp, and she did get like an HP buff, and her Strike Shot does get a power up, I think. And Mika just became like a giant monster, I think. Her Strike Shot becomes a lot powerful. It's even better than like normal piercing SS, because the increase in power, and of course the HP, not the HP, the item growth thing. And of course Shotgun got a lot more power, and a lot of other things. She got like stat boosts as well, and then Parvati got a lot of stat boosts as well. So a lot of buffs, and of course the able berries for 5-star monsters. I think all the 5-star monsters in the game have able berries. I'm not really sure about the 4-star monsters, but at least all 5-star monsters have able berries into them. So, and then people have been asking me like what's better for like Aroma or like an Odo or Napoleon. In my opinion, there's not very much changes in terms of what's really good. Class fruits are always better. Class fruits are always better than most other stat fruits, and of course Cutthroat, Survivor, Mend, and all that good stuff are good as well. So just because they got added able berries doesn't really change which able berry is better for them in relative to like what you've done with like all your other monsters. But of course Roma, you won't be using like a bump combo fruit, and of course Stunberry, the stun one is not that good as well either. So just kind of compared to all the monsters that are kind of like Roma in terms of their strengths, and then buff them up even further, or Roma or like Napoleon or stuff like that. So I think all the 5-star monsters have those able berries, so have fun with them. I still haven't gotten any. I don't think I've gotten any besides like Uesugi Kenshin, and even Uesugi Kenshin only has a silver seed. I have only an A class. I haven't done much for Roma or like other stuff. I basically run time dungeons now. I don't really run the normal ones just because I can beat time dungeons relatively easy with like a legit party on solo, so I don't have to. And they give up more fruits, and then there's a higher chance of a gold fruit or like other fruits in general. So I usually run time dungeons, even though they're not, even though like Roma doesn't really have a good time dungeon for him. So either way, I still do it. I can still carry with my monsters in my box. So yeah, very good. And another thing that got added on, another big news is of course the new dungeons, the new event dungeons, which is only event dungeons and no hatchers, but Satellite and PCG3 are the two descents. PCG3 is a wood and Satellite is a dark. Talking about the dungeons themselves, PCG3, it's only no damage wall, and then there is a little bit of no in gravity barrier, but it's not that big of a deal. If you just stack all your monsters with no damage walls, then it is very easy. Although you do have to kill the mech girl, the little mini boss mech girl first before you attack the boss, and then have a really okay high threshold around 85k HP just to tank out shots, because he does have homing that does like 20 to 30k depending on what monsters you have, and you can't avoid that. So really depends on your box, really depends on your monsters in that sense. But just stack no damage wall monsters. Of course, Kushina is good. Ugnamut is really good after her buff of Mech Slayer M, because that dungeon is basically all mech monsters, even the mobs, and of course the mini mech girls as well. So really easy if you have Ugnamut X, and of course Alexander as a max luck monster, because he is a Mech Slayer and a no damage wall monster as well. And the Mech Slayer is on the ability, so that his vertical laser L is procs the Mech Slayer of 1.5, so it becomes like a 17k two-way laser. So for a descent monster, that's really good, because most descent one-way laser ELs have like is 17k, and then of course the width's different, so it's kind of harder to hit like weak spots and stuff like that, but it's easier to position, so not that bad. Very good in terms of that dungeon. I did put up a video. It's really easy in my opinion. Just stack Kushinada, Alexander's, Ugnamut. There's like a lot of no damage walls, so Athos is good, some Wukong's good, Cinderella, I use Cinderella, Daigoku, Lucifer, the whole enchilada. And then next one is Satellite. Well, let's talk about PCG3 as a monster himself, just to put everything together. PCG3, I put him as the Ascend form as a recommendation, just because of his 8-turn null SS. So his null SS basically is the same as Kuchilin, which if you're in NA right now, if you only play NA, you know that it's really strong if you have her. So what it does is it nulls, during that shot it nulls damage walls, mines, gravity barriers, and warps. So he won't be affected by warps, gravity barriers in terms of movement, so he won't be slowed down by GBs, and he won't go into warps. And then in terms of damage gimmicks, so he won't be taking damage from damage walls, and he won't be taking damage from mines, and of course he won't blow up the mines as well. So very good, and it's every 2 turns because it's an 8-turn strike shot. Although in comparison to the original Kushilin strike shot, he doesn't get a power up or a speed up. So and PCG3 is a power type, so he is kind of slow. But think of it as at every 2 turns you can deal with any gimmicks of that dungeon. So and his main ability is a Demon Slayer M, so it does 2 times more to demons. So there are a lot of demons, demon dungeons. So Queen Butterfly, Death Squall goes for the main 3 in terms of max luck monsters if you really want to max luck. So very good very very good. So that's cool. You can know the mines and the gravity barriers there, damage walls and mines in Queen Butterfly, and mines and warps in Ghost. And chances are you won't be using using it every single time it's up. So you can save it off for later, and then just use his times 2 multiplier on his power type. He is a power type, so he has high attack. So I think it does like what 55 to 60k per bounce. I don't remember his stats that well, but it's probably around there. And then of course his homing 18. He has a homing 18, so he does really good damage to, and it procs the Demon Slayer as well. So it's really really good for those dungeons. And maybe in the future there's probably some more demons in the future. And I am max lucking PCG3 just because it's really easy, and Alexander is a max luck monster for it, so I can leech so I can leech and then stuff like that. So it's not really hard. I can finish it in like 2 sessions, not 2 sessions, 3 sessions of 3 hours, so in about 9 hours. And 9 hours game time is not that hard, especially with like 4 max luck Alexanders. It's pretty easy in terms of the dungeon. Next is Satellite. Very very hard. I don't really like that dungeon a lot, although she is very cute and I really like the artwork, but I am leaving her in terms of max luck. I kind of give it up on max lucking her because her dungeon is really really hard, just because that there aren't really good max luck monsters in the game just for her gimmicks. So basically her gimmicks are mines and warps, so the same as Daigokuten. And basically the only max luck monsters that are good are impossible level dungeon monsters. So like Tsukuyomi and Marishiten and Kushinada are only the good monsters for it. And of course there is one called Titanium. He is a flight and no warp monster, but he is easy. Titanium is really easy, but I haven't got a max luck of him, and I didn't really want to. So it's kind of hard to max luck Starlight. But in terms of the monster, and then like her dungeon is really really awkward because there are blocks, and then the blocks block out the pinch positions for the next bar. So if there's blocks in the top right corner, that's where she spawns, and then the blocks cover off the small corridors onto the top right side of the boss. So it's really hard to get a very fast clear and get a lucky clear in that dungeon. So it's really really hard. I really don't like it. So I just got the ones I need. So to ascend PCG3, and of course one to keep I used the ascend version. But main monsters are pretty much the same as Daigokuten. So Benke, Low Lady, Kali, Low Lady, Kali. Mozart's okay, but I don't recommend because you do have to position for her. Kushinada, Marishiten, Tsukuyomi, Zengfei. So pretty much any monster that you use for Daigokuten is usable in this dungeon. But I think it is harder than PCG3 just because of the gimmicks, and of course there's no real, well, there is OP monsters for it, but she does do a lot of damage just from her energy circle. If you get her energy circle does like what, like 20k per enemy? No, not 20k, but like 15k 15k per shot, so per enemy per ally. So it is really hard. And it comes out, and then she has like a meteor every like 6, I think like 8 turns, and it's hard to deal good damage just because it's impossible to get into those tight corners to deal good damages. And there are minions that block the openings to those pinch corridors as well. And minions do a lot of damage as well, so it's really really hard. So I'm not gonna max luck it, although there are people that max luck it just because they do have the time or like the stones or the orbs to do it, but I've given up until something until there's a better monster, a better max luck monster to use her in, to use them in her. And then as a monster herself, I used it as the Ascend. The Evolve version has a one-way lock-on one-way laser of 17k, but her ability is only flight, and she is a power type in the Evolve form. So that's why I didn't really use the Evolve form. The Ascend form is Homing Piercer 8. As the bump combo, she is a no damage wall monster, and then she's a bounce type, so stats are pretty okay. And a Meteor Strike Shot. The lightning meteor, I think it does like 500k ish. I haven't really checked out the actual stats. I didn't really check out the actual like multiplier for it, but I think it's around 500k. If you want to compare it, then it's Izanami's 600k. So you kind of compare it off of that, and then it's really good for mob clearing, and good for it as a no damage wall monster if you need no damage wall monsters. And of course, she is really cute in terms of artwork. The Ascend version is really cute. Although I kind of like the Evolve version artwork better, but it really depends on what you want. But in terms of viability, I kept it as the Ascended version. I might make an Evolve version later on in the future, but it's only flight in her ability, so kind of hard to actually use her unless you're using her in like what Queen Butterfly, or like really easy dungeons like Queen Butterfly or Ghost, or even Death Scroll, or like Vishnu. Vishnu is really good for Vishnu, but if you want to max out Vishnu, then I wouldn't recommend it. I wouldn't recommend max locking Vishnu, because if you have a max lock of Satellite, the Evolve form, you can go straight to Butterfly and Death Scroll, because Vishnu is the only a max lock Vishnu is good for like Butterfly and Death Scroll as well. So you're basically prolonging your process of max locking. But that's pretty much it about the new event dungeons. Oh yeah, and Hakua. I have put notes, like put out stats, and she is very OP. But if you've seen her, if you're in line groups, JP line groups, and I've been talking about her a lot, she is hard to get, just because she is an extra dungeon. She is an extra stage monster. And it comes out after you beat an extreme monster. There are some rumors that from what the official Monster Strike stream that was happening on Friday, the dev members said that, in quotes, she is a monster that you'll sometimes meet when you play Monster Strike, and end quotes. So what that kind of means to like people's minds is, she is an extra stage that comes out after every extreme dungeon in the game, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. So if you just play the extreme dungeons, then you have a chance of her showing up as an extra stage, and then chances are you might get a good chance of getting her. But it is very low. It's like single digit wise. People have been saying like it is like less than 1% of her coming out. There are not a lot of people that actually got her, even got a chance to meet her in terms of the extra stage. I haven't met her yet. I did like 10 to 15 runs of PCG3 on the first day, and she never showed up for me. And of course, her dungeon is very hard. It's on the level of impossible dungeons, and like Murasame or Dark Muramasa. So basically, her dungeon, from what I've seen, is attack down. There's no like main null gimmick, so there's no like gravity barrier, damage wall, mines, and warps. But there are revives and attack down, and there's some other ones. But basically, the revive is all the minions revive themselves, so kind of like Yomi, Tsukuyomi, where you have to kind of one-shot the mobs and stuff like that. And there are healing walls, and of course there's hearts in the dungeon as well. But the mobs do deal great damage. The boss deals great damage, from what I've seen. So it is a hard dungeon, and of course she only drops after you defeat the boss. And of course she's a no continue monster, so you don't get reward drops. So on the reward stream, she won't drop for you. She only drops when you defeat her in the dungeon, and it is a no continue dungeon, so if you lose her, then she's gone, and you have to try to find her again in the future. So it's pretty hard to max luck. I would say nearly impossible. I would say nearly impossible, just because it's so hard for her to come up, and then of course you have to beat her, and then you have to beat the extreme dungeon, which is like you have to beat the extreme dungeons, and then you have to beat the extra dungeon. So depending on what extreme dungeon you get her from, then the what you call it, the monsters will change and your strategy will change, which is kind of neat. But it is really hard to actually farm for her, so it is really hard to do well in that dungeon. But if she does come up, if the rumors are true, and she does come up for every single extreme dungeon in the game, like descent dungeons, then it'll be really cool. Of course, there's she is kind of made so that she, like, any team can kind of beat her, as long as of course you raise her up and then you have the mechanics. There are some rumored OP monsters in that for that dungeon. One is being Siegfried, the evolved version, because the evolved version is a Dragon Slayer M, if I remember correctly, or is that a normal Dragon Slayer? Let me check. But Hercules is also a Dragon Slayer in the Ascend form. I think it's Dragon Slayer L for Hercules. Why I don't remember Siegfried? Well, that's because I don't really use him that much. I don't really notice the evolved form of Siegfried. It's a Dragon Slayer for the evolved version. Normal Dragon Slayer, Hercules. Let's look at Hercules. Hercules, or I don't really remember, because people have been like talking, flacking me for saying Hercules and not Hercules or something else. I forgot the other pronunciation. They're two different things. That's why people are flacking me about it. But I don't. I've just been living off of Disney movies and stuff like that, so I don't remember the other pronunciation. But the Hercules is Dragon Slayer as well, and Uesigi Kenshin is a Dragon Slayer as well in the evolved version. So really hard to if you trying to go for Hakua. She is a dragon monster, so of course the Dragon Slayer is really good. And then there's no gimmicks and stuff like that. So the OPs technically are what you call it, are Siegfried, because of the attribute difference and the Dragon Slayer. But there are some other OPs like Sun Wukong, Athos, Ascendant Athos, because you kind of want a speed up monster just to one shot mobs and so they don't revive each other. And then and Hakua is a really, really good monster. It's on the level of Hatcher monsters, so what she is a balance type. She does have really high stats, but her abilities is no gravity barrier and Minesweeper. All in one, there's no gauge shot. Her bump combo is a rebounding laser L4, and then her strike shot is she splits into four separate balls, and then they go around the map and then bouncing off of monsters and stuff like that. It's the same as TMNT, the Mutant Turtles SS. So it does really good damage, and of course, she is a no gravity barrier monster, so gravity barriers don't slow any of them down, and she does do great damages, and which is she is really good. And then she kind of leaves Astra in the dust in terms of viability, because she can easily replace Astra in terms of any dungeon in the game where Astra is really good, and even like other no gravity barrier monsters as well. But she is hard to get, so if you don't be really sad if you don't have her yet, or even met her yet. I haven't met her yet, and I doubt I will have a chance to meet her in the near future unless they really raise the chance. But it is not a bug. People have been saying that is a bug, but it's not a bug. But stuff like that. And then last thing is of course the new Ascensions that was released on the Monster Strike broadcast and then Monster Strike official stream. Four monsters got a new Ascension: Oda Nobunaga X, Apollo, and Apollo X. So I'll be running down very quickly about the changes. Of course, these are not the only changes. There are probably some more in terms of bump combos. Of course, they will have sub bump combos, so maybe they have an OP sub bump combo, or like the strike shot might change as well, or like stats change and like types change, or like they become a pierce monster or they become a bounce monster. So just take it as like a kind of like a sneak peek of what's coming up, what their Ascensions might be in terms of availability in the future. I'll be talking about some of the monsters, that, some of the dungeons that they might be really good for. So first up, Oda Nobunaga. So the changes. She still keeps her no damage wall, but it'll be on her gauge shot, and then her main ability is Deity Slayer M. Of course, I don't know like if there's a changes to strike shot or the bump combo, so just take that change only. So just off of that change only, she becomes extremely good for Manishiten. She probably becomes one of the OP monsters in Manishiten. Well, no, probably not OP, but like a very top tier pick in that dungeon, just because since her normal main ability is Deity Slayer, it procs her bump combo, whatever it might be. It might still be EX Laser L, or it might turn into a cross laser L. Who knows? And of course, the sub bump combo also procs the thing as well. And if her strike shot stays the same as a command SS, then it will be really good as well, because it speeds her up, and then she does 2 times as much damage and stuff like that. And then of course bump out to your enemies and stuff like that as well. Next one, number 2, Oda Nobunaga X. Her strike shot changed. So the original strike shot is of course the command SS, but now it changed to the better command SS of the same as Kushinada and Lucifer, where you don't have to bump into your allies. You just shoot in the direction, and they move automatically after you release your shot. So I think she becomes, if she has her bump combo in the as no gravity barrier, and of course bump combo as a blast combo, she is really good for probably top 3 in Izanami. I think she can replace Napoleon really well, just because her strike shot's a lot better than Napoleon's. And even though Napoleon is a Deity Slayer, and of course Pierce, it provides more safety. And then of course you can use that strike shot to get into those pinch positions for your monsters, which is really good in my opinion. And well, even though like probably Napoleon's better for like Yomi or like Izanami than Oda Nobunaga X, Oda Nobunaga X becomes better in relative to other extreme dungeons in comparison to Napoleon in besides DNT bosses like Baste or like Krishna or Vishnu. But in terms of general, there are like just general no gravity barrier. If you need a water no gravity barrier monster with like a blast combo or something like that, Oda Nobunaga X becomes better than Napoleon in that sense. And I don't remember her attack. Of course, it might change in the Ascend version, but if she has above 23k, then she becomes good for Yomi. She becomes good for Yomi as well, so she becomes more viable in Impossible Dungeons, because she becomes more viable in Izanami, and then she might become more viable for Tsukuyomi as well. And then you can always bring her to Yamato Takeru, kind of like a blast slot for Kushinada, and then you have 2 command strike shots to that don't need touching your allies. Although she is a water type, but she does have high HP if I remember correctly, so it might be a good HP source, HP stat boost in that sense. So Oda Nobunaga X is probably in my opinion the winner of all the four monsters. Well, in terms of the best monster, but not in terms of how much they improve. So I think how much they improve in terms of from being really bad to really good is the next one is Apollo. She becomes a Pierce monster instead of a Bounce monster, and then her ability will be a Minesweeper and then Geisha of no gravity barrier. Just a general big improvement. She is a no damage wall before, but now there is a no gravity barrier Minesweeper. She becomes a Pierce monster, so she becomes more effective in dealing with mines, and if her strike shot stays the same, then you kind of differentiates Ashura a bit. If the strike shot is, I think it was a bash and like spread shot. If her strike shot stays the same, then she might be a little bit weaker than Ashura, because Ashura is just, her strike shot is really good. And then, but if Apollo gets a better strike shot, then you probably replace Apollo with replace Ashura with Apollo. But in the end, she is a very good monster. She becomes a lot better because she deals with 2 no damage, no gimmicks, like gimmicks wise. But in terms of impossible dungeons, don't think there is any. Of course, you can use her in Marishten, because you can use Asha in Marishten as well, but there isn't one that's really meant for her. But she does become from like really mediocre to like really good. So I think she wins out in the most improved category, whereas the MVP is like Oda Nobunaga X, but most improved is Apollo. Now number 4, the last one, Apollo X. Her bump combo changed to a lock-on one-way laser, and with the original power of her evolved form, which is 24k. So there is only a few lock-on one-way lasers in the game. One of the main ones is Athos, which is same as 24k, but Athos is a no damage one monster. And then of course Yamato Takeru, but Yamato Takeru laser is 20k. There are some like extreme dungeon ones like Satellite, which is 17k for a lock on, but Apollo X becomes, I think, a better what you call it, a better monster in Yamato Takeru. It kind of depends on what you want for, if you want to replace Hunter King, because Apollo X does have the better stats in comparison to Hunter King, but Hunter King does have the better power in the bump combo, in the one-way laser. But you do have to position for Hunter King, whereas you don't have to position for Apollo X. And then Hunter King does have a better strike shot. I don't know if the Ascension for Apollo X changes. If it does change to something better, Apollo X strike shot was becomes a piercing monster, becomes a piercing type, and then speeds up and stuff like that. So it might become really depends on that front. But in terms of bump combo wise, it's kind of a flip now. Before, you kind of say, oh, Hunter King is 100% better than Apollo X just because the power is different. But now you kind of have to gauge on the fact that you have to position for Hunter King, which might waste you a turn, which you will receive damage for that turn wasted. And then you have to compare it to like Apollo X, where you don't have to position, and then you still do a great amount of damage as well. But that's basically it. They come out next week. Sadly, I don't have any of those 4 in my JP box, so hopefully my friends will have them, and so I can use them in some videos. But of course, not all the information is out. Only like a sneak peek is out. And of course, they might change. They might do like a last minute change in the stuff, even the stuff that I was talking about. So yeah, so about information might change, and then hopefully they'll become really good and stuff like that. But that's it for me. And next week, hopefully I'll do streams, and of course leave suggestion for streams and stuff like that. So I hope to see you guys later in the next week, and hope you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.